Rick Perez, bienvenido. Welcome to Nexo Latino, an icon of the business community and a symbol of Houston's entrepreneurial environment. Rick, how challenging was it to start up Avangard Innovative and make it the top in the Americas?
Thank you, Marcos. First and foremost, great to be here. I want to tell you, so when I started, I was a 22-year-old kid working at Outback Steakhouse, making $80 on a good day. And then, I just got fortunate enough that my brother actually introduced me to some guys in Mexico with Coke and Pepsi and went down there with $99 ticket and got to see the amount of PT bottles. So really, my business in the recycling business, and I started with the phone and fax, my parents' house, and I saw that all this plastic was going to landfills, and I always thought there's got to be a better option. And so I started dialing for dollars, and I was very fortunate. Cotton crops were bad in China, and I had no money. I had no idea what I was doing, but my slogan is find a way, and I did. I was able to find a way to grow the company with limitations that you can imagine, no capital, no people, no that, and then eventually became the largest recycler of PT bottles in the world, and then eventually sold. We made a plant called PetStar, and we were able to sell that plant to Coca-Cola Grupo Arca out of Mexico. So that was just an impressive ride. It was fun.
We are talking about a field, an industry that is booming. Was it a case of being in the right place at the right time?
I absolutely agree with that. You have to be in the right place, right time. So if you're going to a business, you really have kind of feel that there's a necessity going forward, correct? So you can't go to a dial-up internet business, correct? You know when that it's got an end. What I realized in the recycling world, there's always going to be waste. And within that waste, there's always packaging. And I always saw that there's always an opportunity to do circular economy with packaging. If you can make it, why can you break it back down and reuse it again? And believe it or not, I was very young then, but I believed in that. And I knew it was coming. And we just got in front of it. And luckily, we were in front of a movement that, plastics in the oceans is not good. Figuring out how to make sure that, recyclables, plastic don't end up in the landfill, and ESG. So all of these things gave me that win behind the sales to really be able to lift the company and grow and also recruit a very talented team, right? Because there's a purpose to our company. There's a purpose of what we do. Yes, we wanted to make it profitable, but the social impact that we were doing with this company, I thought it was such a valuable asset, and a lot of people wanted to jump on that bandwagon. So it was great.
In your plans, there was an exit strategy, right? Tell us a little bit about how were you able to sell the controlling stake on the company with waste management?
Yes, I sure did. To be honest, when I started the company, I was not thinking about an exit strategy. I was not really thinking about any of that or a legacy company or no. But what it's about creating value, right? So the company that we were really taking off, we needed two more things. We were trying to get it now to another level, right? We needed a huge amount of capital to build the facility that we did build here in Waller, Texas, almost 200 acres, by far the largest plant for flexible packaging in the world. And I need a strategic partner with that. So when I was going out there, which I've never taken outside capital, I thought this is the best opportunity. And I also needed supply to grow this plant. So we were still huge amount of flexible packaging. So that means your ice bags, your cleaner bags, everything that's flexible, stretch film, bubble wrap. And so we really focused on that market because it's the hardest thing to recycle. We ended up talking to Waste Management. I was very fortunate to meet the C-suite. I explained to them, I showed them, we went to the plant, and they said, we have to be part of this. And that's how it started. We went down the road. They went majority controlled. And, long after a year and 4 months later, we were able to put the deal together. So it took a long time, but they were definitely the right partners for this deal.
Tell us about 1588 Ventures.
Yeah. So what happened? We ended up pivoting, right? We had a good liquidity event, and so we created a family office, and the whole idea and the concept about 1588 is we try to really focus on growth companies that we are going to invest in companies that have, they do impact for the environment, good things, so they do great things for the environment. So we don't want to invest in things or companies that are really harming the environment. So we want to be a solution provider. We have my team that have been with me for a long, long time has some real good skill sets in that area. And so we'll put capital and strategic vision and strategy to a company to help them grow. So that's really what we've been doing. And then on top of that, we do have some companies that we're operating. We kept Latin America as a recycling company, so we still have Mexico and all Central America. That's doing really, really well. And then we opened a couple of companies. One is Zeus Power Supply. So there's a shortage of power in this country, so transformers and hardware, and that's something we're growing quite rapidly and quite fast and quite large. That's what I meant. And so we're really excited about that company. And then we have a glove and safety, which so we have another companies that we operate. So a lot of investments. We do external investments, third parties, and then we also do capital markets. So that's really what 1588 does.
You're a member of the YPO, the Young Presidents Organization. What is that organization and what does it add to your business opportunities, business plans?
YPO to me, I got in when I was 36 years old, and what it does, it gives you a sounding board of these amazing business. Where you have to be a president or CEO of a company. There's certain size that you be able to do that. And if you are privileged enough to get invited, which I was privileged enough to get invited, you really you see things differently. The ability to scale a business, the resources that you have. You're a phone call away, whoever you want to talk to. So it's such a powerful organization in the way of connections and ability to access information. But also we do a lot of universities and things for really continuing to learn. So it's an absolutely amazing organization, and I encourage you if that should be something that if you can get into that, absolutely be part of it.
You mentioned education, and I know you devote time every year to updating your technology, your knowledge about new procedures, new everything. Tell us about that.
Well, I believe as a CEO, you only know what you know, and you keep preaching the same things over and over to your staff. And so, as a CEO, your job is to think and create and build and bring new strategies and new way of thinking. So the best way to do that is going back to school. So I go back to school. I do the Harvard education program, and then also at Harvard Business School, and then I did Stanford last year, and you could just it's the mind. Really, the most value you have as a CEO is your brain and what is your competitors doing? Where are you going to take the company? What is the vision? And how else you have all these resources are coming out, like artificial intelligence you're hearing about, right? And how to pivot your company and all these strategies your brain starts thinking about how do I connect that to my business? And as a good CEO, if you're not doing that, you're never going to win. So if you're looking down and always thinking about execution, meaning HR and legal and operations and all that, then you might be a great COO, but you're not a CEO. CEO, you have to look over the mountains, see where you're going to go, where you're going to want to take this company, and that's a vision. It takes time to develop that, but you have to do it to be a great CEO. You can't do it the other way.
What's your game plan for the next 3, 5 years?
My yes, I love business. I love creating. I love building. So mergers and acquisitions is my thing. I love helping companies turn around, helping them grow, put a new strategy in play, and then help them exit. So we create also a venture called Next Stage, and what we mean by that next stage is it's founders of companies that have grown a company and they really want to liquidate. They want to enjoy their life going forward. So next stage, we're here for that, right? If they need capital, we'll put capital. If they need, strategic advice and where we're going to take it, and then we help them package and sell it because really the process of selling is very complicated, And you really need people that have kind of done this before and know what they're doing. And we've been fortunate enough to do it several times. I bought many companies, sold them, and it's a process that requires a lot of strategic thinking. And so we're helping companies do that, and I love it.
You definitely look very excited and happy with what you're doing.
Thank you.
The top tips for Hispanic entrepreneurs, businessmen who want to get to the big leagues.
I love it. Well, I would tell you the first and foremost, believe in yourself. And what I mean by that, most people say, well, I want to start this business. Oh, I want to do this. And they wait too long. So the earlier you can do it, and what I mean by that is I was all in. The worst thing that could happen when I started my company, what? I'm going to go live with my parents? Well, heck, I was already living there. So, it was an opportunity. You have to double down. You have to trust. If you're able to invest in the stock market in a company you have no control, nothing that you can do, why don't you invest in yourself? And if you truly are passionate about something, do it. And the second thing I always say to people is don't ever have a plan B. I'll always say, well, if I don't do this, I'm going to do that. I'm like, well, if you have a plan B, that is your plan. So it's always so much easier to fall back on the second thing you want to do, right? If you want to be a surgeon, you say, well, I'm going to be a surgeon. You don't say, well, maybe I'll be a truck driver. No, then you'll be a truck driver. So if you're gonna set your mind to do something, do whatever it takes to do it. And also the third thing is participate in charity events. And what I mean by that is the more charities you go to, the better the network is going to be. You got to remember all the big dogs and all the big companies eventually you want to do some business with, they're on some charity boards. They're going to be accessible to you. And to talk to them in a charity issue, an event, it's way, way, way easy than you try to get a cold call with the CEO of a major company that just never going to go get that way. So go to charities, help out, and also meet amazing people that at the end of the day, they do want to help young Hispanic entrepreneurs grow their business. I'm one of them.
Finally, what is your phrase, your favorite phrase or quote in business?
It's very simple, play to win. So for me, it's play to win. If you're going to go into business and you're going to do something, make sure you believe the what you're gonna do with it, and play to win. So if you want to sell your a cup of coffee, make sure you feel that whoever you're going to present it to, they believe that you're going to sell their cup of coffee. I see a lot of times like people say, well, I don't, they're going to say no. Well, if you're already saying that they're going to say no, then why are you going? Don't go. If you don't think you can make that sale, don't go. But you better believe it first yourself before you can do that, right? And the other phrase I always use is find a way. There's always a way. So if they tell you no, okay, if you don't mind, tell me what would be, why not? And most people don't ever ask questions when they get a no. They just get no. Okay, well, they told me no. Why? Well, I didn't ask. Ask. So the best way to learn is how you pivot your business plan, how you pivot your model based on the no's. And we all get no's, right? I mean, if it was easy, everybody would do it. But it really is easy understanding why not. And when you get some data points, then you can say pivot and you say, I find a way to go around that hurdle that was put. Hey, I don't have the capital. Okay, well, what if I lease it to you? What if if I put the capital in and then you reimburse me back eventually based on what I buy from you? You get creative. And believe it or not, people want to do businesses. It's just if they're big companies, obviously there's a lot harder for them to maneuver in some of the parameters that they have. So you got to find a way how that company works and then have fun with it. Enjoy what you're doing. That's also a thing. I think a lot of people they get frustrated, and so when you come frustrated to a meeting or something, you already lost the battle. So be happy, enjoy what you do. If you believe in your product or you believe in your service, whatever you're selling, make sure let them believe that you love what you're doing. Do it. If not, you're in the wrong business. Go do something else.